Hi, welcome to the third and final episode of Forewarned is Forearmed. Today, I'll share how I broke out of that depressive cycle. It's a three-step process: acknowledge, resolve, move forward, or ARM for short. Needs work. Hi, I'm Shen. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a pop star. I'm just a bored guy who's been through some stuff. So, continuing from the last episode, the occupational health doctor had turned me into a gibbering wreck. Tears streaming down my face, snot pouring out of my nose. It was horrible. But it was also the first step towards recovery. Acknowledge. I had finally acknowledged I had a problem. It's funny, but looking back, deep down, I knew there was something wrong. And the emotion, the sadness, the tears that I so desperately fought back, they were all warning signs. But instead of accepting how I felt, I chose to deal with it the old-fashioned way. I stuck my fingers in my ear and went la 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 la. But ignoring a problem doesn't make it go away. If anything, it grows into something so much worse. And for me, one of the biggest dangers of suppressing your feelings is that it stops you from being able to think rationally. It allows you to become overwhelmed. So stage one, acknowledge you have a problem and permit yourself the emotional release. And that's exactly what I did. I went home, told my wife, and bawled my eyes out. Saw the psychiatrist and bawled my eyes out. Watched the kids' cartoon to take my mind off things and bawled my eyes out at that as well. I was crying all the time. I remember thinking at one point, bloody hell, had I known this is what it would have been like, I would have kept things repressed. At least before, I could go about my day, but now I'm just a broken mess. I should have. No. Remember where I was headed had I carried on the way I was? Even with all the crying, I was still better off. But acknowledging isn't enough. To stop the tears, you have to resolve. And for me, there were two things to address: the negative thought patterns and the underlying cause. Let's take a look at both and resolve them. I want this to stop. I can't live like this. Excellent. You're basically telling yourself you can't continue the way you are. Then don't. Do something about it. If only I didn't slip. If only I had a time machine, I could change the past. But I don't have a time machine, and I'm pretty sure you don't either. So don't waste your energy wishing that the past would change. It won't. Why? Why me? Dear God, why? There are some times in life where no matter how hard you search for the answer, you won't find it. So don't waste your time. The shame of being a crybaby. But I need to remember that I'm no longer a child and I don't cry for silly reasons. So no matter how it might look on the outside, if I'm hurt emotionally, then it must be serious. There is no shame. Anger, disappointment. Oh yes, I was so angry and so very disappointed. But at what? At what exactly? What was the cause of all of this? It was grief. It was grief of losing out on the life I was so close to achieving. The fall happened at absolutely the worst time in my career. Not only did I lose out on the promotion, but because of the time away, I had also lost seniority. My career was going backwards, which would limit what I could do and what I could become. And because I was so focused on this, it sent me spiraling. But it's not that uncommon. We've all heard of people who seemingly have everything: fame, fortune, power, only to end it all after a small setback. Or the story of the straight A student who gets a B for the first time. Mine was something similar. The psychiatrist was right. I'm not special at all. So how do you resolve it? You have to change your perspective. Don't focus on the loss, but at what you still have. So I didn't get promoted and my career stalled. I wasn't sacked. I was on paid medical leave and I could still work my way back up. Did I lose my home? No. Did my wife leave me? No. But she's Catholic, so it's not like she has a choice. No, I'm joking. My wife, Christine, has a heart of gold. So thank you, Christine, for supporting me through all of this. If I look at things like this, then I still had a pretty good life. It's really easy to see that now, But before the emotional release, my brain wasn't functioning properly and I was completely blind to this. So first you have to acknowledge and then you can resolve. Once you've done that, move forward. Don't dwell on the past. Don't let it define you. Move forward. Which would have been really easy had my knee not deteriorated. At the same time that all of this was happening, the pain in my knee became unbearable and I needed another operation. But this time I had run out of medical leave. Luckily, I had income protection, but that would mean taking a 60% pay cut. Constant pain, limited mobility, financial pressure, surely that would send me back into depression. No, because I was quick to arm. To stop the pain, I was completely in the hands of the doctors. There was nothing I could do except take care of what was going on up here. I was steadfast in the belief that I would come out of it, and no matter how long or however many operations it would take, I was determined to see it through and get my life back. And I did, although I can't take the credit for it. After the 10th operation, the physiotherapist I was referred to, Kasia Zelina, was convinced that my knee issues were structural. So she referred me to Professor Haddad for a second opinion. And indeed, my knee was misaligned. It took another 2 operations, but I was finally pain-free. So a big thank you to Kasia and Professor Haddad. After this, I was finally ready to move forward, to put the past 7 years behind me. I informed my employers of my recovery and they were excited to welcome me back. Well, at least that's what they told me anyway. And then I caught a cough, which got worse and worse. After a few scans, the consultant had to deliver the bad news. I had developed a condition called bronchiectasis, and that had damaged my lungs. Apparently, the death rate is something like 1 in 10 won't make it past 5 years from first diagnosis, and something like 30% won't make it past 13. Wow, that's pretty bad. Surely that would send me back into depression. No, even after hearing this, I still felt pretty good. Let me explain. By the time I was diagnosed, I was already 39. By then, so many of my friends and family had medical conditions, some far worse than mine. It's called getting old. And compared to what I had gone through with the knee, the lungs didn't sound that bad. Plus, I was on the verge of going back to work and more than doubling my income overnight. So I dismissed the lung thing and moved forward. I got myself back to the office and wow, what a rush that was. It was great. I could live life again. I could travel, see the world, experience things I had only been reading about. I got to watch my daughter Erin grow into an amazing little girl, all because I didn't give up. And as for my lungs, it wasn't that bad. At the start, any time I caught an infection, a short course of antibiotics would resolve it. But after each infection, the next infection would be worse, hit harder, take longer to recover from. My work suffered. I took prolonged absence of leave. After I caught pneumonia, my health deteriorated to the point that occupational health had to step back in and for my sake, reduce my working hours. And I know that might sound great, but that was also the death sentence to any hopes I had for promotion or pay rise. But that's fine. I can still live off my pay. And when I die, there's life insurance to make sure Christine and Erin are taken care of for a few years. Yeah, this is fine. I can live with that. But there's a little voice inside telling you that something is wrong. Something isn't right. You're sad. You want to cry. But crying won't help. Wait a moment. I've been here before. So I found a room, closed the door, and I let it all out. And just like before, my mind cleared and I could think again. I didn't know what the problem was, but I knew I couldn't handle the situation on my own. I got myself referred to a psychologist, Dr. Norma Scavoli, and she helped me identify what the problem was. She said to me, the future you've described doesn't sound great, but you know what? You're not there yet. I'm not there yet. That was the clarity I needed. The problem was that I didn't like that future. So thank you, Dr. Scavoli, for helping me see that. Let me explain. The problem isn't death. I know I'm going to die, and most likely from a lung infection. But that's okay. I accepted that a long, long time ago. The problem was how I was going to get there. Working with no chance for improvement in position or pay until my health deteriorates and I die. Wait, this is it? This is as good as it gets and then it's downhill from here? No, I don't accept that. I refuse to accept that. I need a different path, a better future. So when I was well enough, I said to my employers, I really need some time off, please. So I finally got to take the 3 months unpaid leave I originally requested 10 years ago. What did I do with my time off? I made videos for the internet. And if you're interested, you can follow me on OnlyFans. No, I'm kidding. No one in the right mind would be willing to pay for what I have to offer. No, I'm talking about YouTube and the videos you've been watching. Forewarned is forearmed. It's a talk I used to give in person. After each session, there would always be requests for more. But as much as I wanted to, I couldn't. Mentally and emotionally, as you've seen, it takes its toll. But with the power of YouTube, I just have to do it once and then anyone can watch it. How great is that? So if you do know somebody who might benefit from this, share this with them. Alternatively, speak to someone in your human resources department and let's arrange a talk. I'm more than happy to break the stigma and arm in person and to tailor it to your organization. For falling, well, we'll just have to stick the YouTube video on for that. If you're interested, my email is on my channel's about page. If you have any questions, post them as comments and I'll answer as many as I can. We're coming to the end of this series. I hope a little of what I've shared has helped. But let me leave you with this. The amount of people I have to thank for still being here is huge, and I've only been able to mention a few. There are times in life when you can't solve a problem on your own. Don't be afraid or ashamed to ask for help when you need it. As for me, my 3-month sabbatical is coming to an end. I'll be stepping back into the office in a couple of days. But it's better now as I've laid the groundwork for a new path. I have no idea where it's going to take me, but it's exciting to find out. So if, like me, you don't like where your future is headed, have courage, face your problems, resolve them, and move forward wherever it may take you. Thank you for watching. I wish you all the best.